Here we go, Macca.
Yes.
Your team, pay attention to this particular New Zealand star.
Sally, Matthew thinks his haircut is fantastic. What do you think about it?
All right.
Sally's replying here.
Well, she's got to be complimentary because, with all due respect, the dude that she was sporting was pretty bloody atrocious.
Hey, Toddy's wasn't exactly blooming Magnum PI either.
No, yours was the best out of the three of them. I mean, he had the filthy
what
mud
about the
flap
tracky
and
pants that I had on?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Anyway.
Okay,
so
so
I would suggest that she probably did chastise old Mullet Head.
Yeah.
I can't watch this.
Oh, mate, that's... Did you have your teeth done then, mate?
I hope so.
Or did you have the pics? Show us more
I hope
footage of
so.
it.
Please.
God,
Please.
you were a bloody ugly couple, weren't you?
Hey, mate, she's
Before
got
the
feelings,
teeth
mate.
were
You can
done
say
and-
that about me, I can handle it, mate, but
she was good.
she's
No, I'm
another
talking
of my
about you
beautiful
and
children,
Toddy.
so don't... That's not bad. That's not bad.
Okay, what did Sally say about Ridgie's hair, boys?
Well, you can talk spastic or something like that about, you know.
Yeah, well, she'd have to say, mate, it's a damn sight better than that bloody crow's nest you've got on the top of your bonce. I mean, or words along those sort of lines.
Those
It's
lines.
despicable. I mean, the Todd do, the mullet, the mullet, the cubic.
The mullet.
It's a pubic mullet, too.
Can you just hurry up and get on with it?
Let's have a look and see what Sally said about Ridgie's
Oh, my
do.
God, you're red, mate.
Oh, shit.
Sally, Matthew thinks his haircut is fantastic. What do you think about it?
I love it. I think it looks cute.
Hey!
Show us it again! Show us it again! One more time! Oh, that's too good. One more time!
I don't get paid enough to do this.
He just had the
Teeth done!
Here we go. Let's take a look again,
What do
guys.
you think about it?
off!
I love it. I think it looks cute.
Oh, you're a real communicator back then, aren't you? One more!
No more, Tony.
One more time! It's one more!
Sally, Matthew thinks his haircut is fantastic. What do you think about it?
I love it. I think it looks cute.
Hey!
What a dick! What a dick!
Well, I'm going. That's it, mate. I've had enough. It's not on.
Oh, and again!
I didn't get paid enough to do that shit.
The change
Jesus.
you can't walk out now.
That's got to be in the promo every week.
Oh, God, my heart.
Oh, that was brilliant.
It could be fair to say that no one raises more passion in New Zealanders than an American yachty by the name of Dennis Conner. Dennis Conner, you'll remember, lost the America's Cup, and then he won it back, and then last week he lost it again. As fate would have it, he was on his way to New Zealand. Dennis Conner granted us this interview. Dennis Conner, what is this board game you've been promoting in New Zealand?
Well, Paul, as you know, as a sailor, I like to sail, and so I found this game called Cup Fever, that is a combination of America's Cup and general sailing game that was really intriguing to me, and they offered me an opportunity to come down here and film a TV commercial, and a unique opportunity, a beautiful part here of New Zealand, and I took advantage of that, and it turned out really well. The timing could have been better on some other things, but
Yeah.
as we all know.
You've come to a country, of course, Mr. Conner, with Cup Fever again at the moment. When did you actually find out that the cup had been taken from you?
Well, I was on a flight from Narita, Tokyo, to Sydney, and when I got off the plane, the JAL attendant said, you know, gee, Mr. Conner, I'm sorry, 3.5 years of your life down the drain. I feel like crying for you.
Did he say 3.5 years of your life down the drain?
Yeah.
Is that what
Of
it
course.
felt like to you?
I didn't know what he was talking about. It was 6:30 in the morning, so then I went from there to the customs, and they said, oh, gee, I'm so sorry for you, Mr. Conner. And I still wasn't focusing on it. Customs, I went and picked up my luggage, and the baggage handler said, oh, Mr. Conner, I'm so sorry. And then I went, they inspected my luggage, and the same thing, and then all of a sudden it started dawning on me what they were talking about. I didn't even know what thought maybe, you know, I looked like I had a 5 o'clock shadow or something. I was a little tired. It's a long flight. But then it started sinking in. So that's how I got the news.
What was your reaction?
Wow, it was a good stiff kick in the belly, honestly. And as an American, I'm sure you could understand that I was deeply upset and disappointed. I had worked 3.5 years to bring the cup home. I envisioned a regatta similar to the one in Perth, with many international competitors, having a fabulous event in my hometown. And to lose it this way was a bitter pill. And
Did you cry?
no, I'm kind of a tough customer. But I think inside I was weeping.
Doesn't it strike you as unspeakably sad that you were the first American to lose the America's Cup, and then you won the admiration of the world with your grit, your obsession perhaps, Mr. Connor, your determination, you won it back, and now you've lost it again.
Mm-hmm.
And you've lost it through bad sportsmanship. You've lost it because you cheated.
As a sportsman, I intend to abide by the umpire's decision. I'm a sailor, not an attorney, and I believe the race should be won and lost on the water. So I'm not pleased with it, but I accept the umpire's decision, and I believe that the America's Cup will go on to be the fabulous event that it should have been, and that everyone will be looking forward to a great event here in Auckland.
But last year, didn't you have a chance to have a great event in your city? You had a challenge, you had an exciting 90-foot yacht put up against you, and you chose to laugh at that, Mr. Connor. You chose to laugh at it and you put up a catamaran. How can you expect us to believe you when you say you're just a simple sailor, when you went along with a scheme that has been described by a New York Supreme Court judge as bad sportsmanship?
Well, Paul, I am a sailor. I'm a competitor. I'm not the organizing authority, and so there's a lot of confusion here. I am out there racing as an entrant in the regatta. I'm a runner in the Olympics. I am not the organizing event. I am not the San Diego Yacht Club. When I won the America's Cup, I was representing the San Diego Yacht Club. It's a challenge between yacht clubs in the deed of gift. When I came back, the yacht club is the trustee of the event. I'm not a trustee of the yacht club. I wasn't pulling the strings behind the scenes, Paul.
You went along with it, Mr. Connor.
I was asked to do a job for my friends in my yacht club in San Diego to sail this boat. It was not Dennis Connor's idea to race a catamaran. This was a decision between the Sail America Foundation and the San Diego Yacht Club.
Did you fight against it?
I wasn't thrilled about this. I was in a no-lose, no-win situation. I've already won the America's Cup 3 times. How could I? All I could do was lose the America's Cup. So,
but you could have retained the America's Cup, couldn't you? You could have beaten Michael Fay in a 90-footer. You'd won the America's Cup 3 times.
Paul, I was asked to do a job by my friends as a sailor. It was not my decision. No sailors had a good feeling about racing a catamaran against a model hull.
You say that when you heard the news that the cup was no longer yours, that you felt it was a great kick in the belly. I assume that you regretted at that point the tactics chosen, because obviously they'd lost you the cup. Were you also, have you had cause to, Mr. Connor, regret your behaviour or the way you appeared in public sometimes at the time of the challenge last year?
Paul, it's not a perfect world, and I've made some mistakes in my life that I think all of us have.
Do you regret?
I look forward to moving on in a positive vein here in an America's Cup, which would, in most of the sailors' dreams, be similar to Perth.
Can I just play you this?
How did you get the ship
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
Big boy.
That stinks. It does stink.
Full of shit.
Yeah, I think
Get lost. You're a loser. Get off the stage. The winner.
New Zealand at the moment. I want to give you the opportunity to say whether or not you regret that occasion. I know things can happen in the heat of the moment.
Paul, and as I just said, it's not a perfect world, and we have all made some mistakes we're not proud of, and I'm no different.
But you said at the time, Bruce Farr was a loser. You said that you were sailing against a dog. You said New Zealand, the team, was full of shit. Do you think those were things that need some apology to the New Zealand people in a country, Mr. Connor, where you're going to have to spend a bit of time?
Paul, you're taking things out of context, and I respectfully reserve the right to disagree with you, and I have to run now, so I'd like to thank you very much for having me on your show. I would like to wish you luck in the future, and sure look forward to being down here with the New Zealand people and their upcoming fabulous event. Thank you very much for having me.
But would you be interested in apologising to Mr. Farr in public, Mr. Connor, for that incident that happened last year?
Mr. Jones is currently staying at his holiday home just north of Turangi. When we phoned him today, we were told he was out fishing and wouldn't be back until early this evening. So we chartered a helicopter to try and find him. It was our intention to interview him about the events over the past few days regarding the decision to put New Zealand's third most popular political party into recess. Mr. Jones was in the lower reaches of the Tongariro River. As we arrived overhead, he left the river and we landed on the river bank. But before we could speak to him, Mr. Jones ran out of the trees and towards the camera. Hey, no need for that. Get the out of here. All right, get out of here. Piss off. Well, this is where we found Bob Jones, by the banks of the river here, and this is what we got for our troubles. As well as my injury, the cameraman, Peter Mayo, was knocked to the ground and bruised. Meanwhile, Mr. Jones went back into the bush.